Okay, guys, welcome back to another client testimonial, this time with my good friend Will. Will, thank you for joining me while I'm in Portugal um, on a little trip. I got your voice note yesterday about, which we'll go into, about how happy you're feeling, how good you're feeling, especially with life now that you've kind of exited the 9 to 5 and moved away. And I thought, can't really think of a better time or more opportune time to do one of these. So if we were to, go back and start fresh, Will, like when we first had that discovery call about you coming onto the program, where can you kind of paint the picture of your life, where you're at, what you were doing back then?
I mean, I was sort of stuck in a 9 to 5, which I enjoyed at the start, and then it sort of transitioned out of something that I loved doing, and I was kind of sort of stuck in that churn of go to work, come home, go to work, come home, and just not really feeling like fulfilled from it. So I joined there as a video editor, and I left as someone who just dealt with spreadsheets. So it wasn't for me, and I really wanted to get back into editing. I've been editing sort of all my life, and I've always enjoyed it. So I just wanted to get back into it, and that's sort of when I found you on Instagram as well. So it's just been, yeah, it's been amazing.
Cool. So what made you want to take the leap to begin with? What kind of made you think, maybe I should hire a coach?
Um, I watched your videos. I'd never thought about getting a coach before. I was watching all of your YouTube videos, and a lot of them just made a lot of sense. And they were videos where I didn't feel like it's just like a scammy sales call or anything like that. They just really resonated. They told a story, and they kind of just spoke directly at me. So, and you'd already reached out, so I think I'd seen your ad, and you'd reached out. We sort of started having a chat and stuff, and I looked a little bit further, and so let's just try this. Maybe this is actually for me. Maybe this is going to be what's going to sort of change my life a little bit, and I don't look back. It's been incredible. I think it's something I probably didn't believe in before, or sort of had the confidence to go into before. Whereas now looking back, I am glad. I'm glad we did it. I'm really really glad, because it's got me out of something which I didn't enjoy into something I didn't believe I'd be doing. So
Yeah, okay. And so was there a point where when you joined, you thought, "Oh shit, this could actually work"? Because I know there were some, like, not so much doubts in the process, but maybe more doubts that whether you could actually leave your 9 to 5, start your own video business, which you have done. Was there a point in that transformation where you started to think, "Holy fuck, this could actually work"?
yeah, yeah, it literally did. I think just sort of after joining the program, and sort of going through some of the coursework, and just learning a little bit more about it. It started. I don't know. I think it's sort of like a couple of weeks in, a month or two in, started thinking actually this could work. This could work, and then we sort of started working on each pain point as it came. So one of them being the job, the 9 to 5, and how do I put everything into this, and sort of we all sort of tackled that together, and it worked. So really, it worked, and yeah.
And I remember when, just after you joined, I think you just picked up your first camera, your first DSLR. And, me as a coach, I was a bit like, oh, okay, I didn't realize, you were that early on. But then when I started seeing some of your work, like, here's the thing that I always find with videographers, right? There's people who have been shooting for a long, long time, and they're good, right? But then every now and then you get someone who comes along who picks a camera up and they just get it. It's not so much about the settings, it's about, they can look at the composition, they can look at the frame of where they're shooting, the light, and their brain, for whatever reason, just connects all these pieces together really well. And so, like, you going from picking up that camera to where you're at now in like a space of like 4 months is pretty
Yeah.
damn impressive. And I remember telling you that a few times of like whenever you were doubting your craft, which is super normal as a creative. And I was like, Will, you do not need to worry because you have what I would say most creatives would kill for is you just have the eye for it, right? So I guess that to frame that question, what was it like in a sense starting from scratch, joining the program, picking up a camera? How did you feel in that moment?
Oh, I mean, it was scary. I'm not gonna lie. It was
Yeah.
scary because it's not like just picking up a phone and pressing record where it just does everything for you. The amount I've learned about a camera is insane. And I remember my very first shoot. It came out pretty good, but I did need another reshoot, which I was lucky at the time that it was for a friend. So I was quite lucky to sort of get that practice in there. But sort of after that, I just kept learning about the camera, learning about the different lenses and lighting, and all sorts of things. And so it was a little bit scary, but it was exciting at the same time because it's just something new. It was
Mm.
something new for me to learn and really get behind. And yeah, it's been good, but yeah, it must have been quite scary not having picked up a real camera before.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. So what made you say yes to joining, considering that you hadn't like I guess truly started yet, right? Because like typically with videographers I work with, I normally work with people who are I guess a little bit more established and stuff like that. But with me and you, it just clicked, it just worked.
Mm.
So what made you want to say yes to begin with?
Um, it was the call that we had together, and you had asked me a couple of things, and it actually really sort of it dug quite deep into me really questioning things that actually should I do this? And I'm sort of at that point where if I don't try this now, then I'm probably never going to try, and
Mm,
I'm kind of at that point in life where I'm sort of at that stage where trying new things is good, and sort of not in a career that's going to be well, it could go far, but it wasn't going where I wanted it to go. So I kind of just thought I'm going to try this, and if it doesn't work, then I know. I'd rather know now if it didn't work than sort of 20, 30 years' time where I actually wanted to give it a go again, and it's just not too late, but I've kind of got the energy, I've got the sort
mm,
of everything is all sort of in place to do it now. It's like it was just supposed to happen. I kind of do believe that things happen for a reason. So, and I think having a chat with you on Instagram, watching all of your videos, and sort of actually getting a call in with you
mm.
and sort of understanding where I fit into how you join into your program kind of said it all for me and sort of ticked a lot of boxes.
Awesome. Because it's also cool for me to see because we had that first call. It must have been like on your lunch break at work and in your car, and now we're in your brand new, home built
Studio,
office
I know.
at home. It's just cool to see that transformation. So, how did it feel both when you handed your notice in, and then how does it feel like your last day at work, first day here on your new business? Like, what did all that feel like?
It just felt great. The moment of handing the notice in, I had a really good chat with the boss who knew sort of what I wanted to do. It was no lie. There was no sort of hidden secrets or anything. This was the journey I wanted to go on, and they were really supportive of it. So it hand like getting to that day where my notice is going in, felt great. It felt really really good because I thought I'm finally doing this. Like this is
Mm.
actually happening. To then now today, like so the last day where I've kind of checked out from there and sort of already embracing this new future. So it felt great. A little bit scary because it is one
Normal.
of those crazy moments that you do in life and you think, am I really making the right decision? So I've had many of those sort of times where I thought, am I making the right decision here? And which I still do today, but I think we all do, really. We
Yes.
all sort of question these things, but I don't look back. Like I said, it's I'm happy with what I'm doing, and the fact that I'm getting more and more clients, people like my videos, I'm getting really good testimonials in, just sort of proves to me that I can do it. I've always been one that's always said, no, you're not good enough for that. I've always been that kind of person, and I think that sort of, spanning back years and years, whereas it's like a full circle now, whereas actually I can do it and I'm going to do it. So,
So you feel like
yeah,
you're actually breaking false belief patterns within yourself so you can actually grow.
definitely, yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's so awesome. Because like when you think about it from like a super, I guess, base level view, it really is just you. Like the difference
Yeah,
between Will who's in a 9 to 5 and Will who's has a really successful video company, it's just up here. It's the
yeah,
belief, right?
it literally is.
And like this is what I find with coaching. It's like I can give you all the systems, I can give you like all the lead acquisition, the sales, everything, but fundamentally, the person who's going to make it and the person who's not is the person who's just going to bet on themselves.
Yeah,
That's the only difference, right?
yeah.
What would you say, Will, for you was the most valuable part of the program or working with me?
I mean, a lot of it has been, I think, having our one-to-ones together to sort of tackle bits and pieces that have come up has been really, really helpful. Also, like everyone in the actual program itself, who span across the world. So it's nice to sort of network with people and sort of, get to meet people who are on the same journey.
Mm.
Which has been really nice. It's been really reassuring as well, that I'm not the only one that wants to take this path as well. But yeah, I think having access to yourself, the mastermind behind all of this, has been really, really good. Sort of to understand sort of your journey as well was yeah, it's been good. So the the courses, how you actually, you know, do the calls and how you actually sell your model and sell what you're trying to sell has been really, really helpful.
Awesome. And I know that I don't want to say too much because nothing's been signed on the dotted line for you yet, but there's talks of kind of like a dream client, dream project. Should we talk a little bit about that?
Yes, yeah. So this is a client who's actually not far from me, which is ideal, and they're about to go on a huge journey themselves. They are just signing up with a huge corporate firm to sell their products, and they'd like me to be their sort of main videographer who just takes care of all of the media for them on a 3-year contract. So it's massive, and
Awesome.
it's as I've started building up sort of their first piece of video that really shouts about their business, it's sort of everything I always wanted to do that I just didn't know, because there's I've played piano all of my life. I've been a pianist, and I thought music was going to be everything,
Mm.
and it turns out the music career is actually really difficult to get into. So the fact that with what I'm doing for them, I'm composing a piece for their main video, which you don't get many videographers doing, but it's brought me back to the piano, which is something that's been like always there. It's always been there. To go back to that and go back to those roots of composing again, which I
Mm.
did about 15, 20 years ago, is great. So, but they're really, really happy to have me on board. It's a really exciting partnership. So yeah, I think this is just going to be the start of something really, really big.
So it's so funny that you got to the level you're at with piano, and then you've kind of gone through this career transformation to where you're at now, but it's actually brought you back to piano again. It's like this wonderful full circle moment where all of your skills and passions are actually kind of aligning into one kind of business model, right?
Yeah, yeah. It was nice to be able to bring the piano back in actually, because I didn't ever want to lose it. I've studied hard on it for years, and my parents paid a lot of money to have private piano lessons, which aren't cheap. And they did that for years because they believed in me. And to only sort of have it as a hobby sort of was great. But I wanted to do something with it again.
Mm.
Um, and being able to bring that back in now at the most unexpected moment, I think just says it itself really that things do happen for a reason, and this was supposed to happen, and yeah,
Hell yeah, yeah. It's awesome when it's there's a thing in my life that has always been about, and this is something that I've always shared with Amber, just so that I actually have proof that it's not just in my head. But I always see the number 137, and it's a thing like I think it's called synchronicities, where when you're going down the right things in life, you're following the right pattern. There'll be synchronicities in your life, and for me, when I left my agency and started coaching full time, I'd always kind of seen that number crop up now and then, but when I left and I sold my agency and I went into coaching full time, this number 137 would just pop up everywhere, and it still does today. And I don't really have any idea what it means, but like it just always crops up more so, more so, more so. And me and Amber on holiday about a year ago, we went to Centre Parks, and luckily I told her at this point, so I didn't sound like a crazy person. But the lodge number we were given was 137, and I was just like,
there you go.
it's just so weird how it's almost like it's the universe telling you everything you're doing is along the right lines. When you get signs like that of like, oh yeah, we want you to compose a piano piece for this video and all this sort of stuff, it's like, wow, it's
Yeah,
just it's so random. It doesn't just feel like a coincidence. Do you know what I mean?
yeah, I know. When you look at it like that, and you look just so far back,
Mm,
like the path was there. You just had to open the right door, and I
yes,
think talking to you opened that door.
that's awesome, Will. That's awesome. So with that client that you're bringing on, how did you find them? How did they find you? Was it from the ad?
Yeah, they found me. They messaged me. They got to me before I could get to them. So,
Awesome.
um, which is great. That's ideal. And so I had a chat with them, got to understand their story and what they want to do and what's coming up for them. And I went to go meet them because they're only about half an hour away from me, which is really ideal. And sort of, I was there for hours. I was there for most of the afternoon, just sort of going through big future plans with them, what they want to do, and how they sort of want to bring me on to bring that to life in video form.
Mm,
So it's massive. What they're about to do is a one of a kind process, and to be able to be part of that is just incredible. It's
yeah.
really really quite special.
It's awesome when you find the dream client where everything kind of, not just the work, but your personalities and your interests and your passions, they all just kind of click. And
Absolutely,
it doesn't even feel
yeah.
like work anymore. It feels like play.
Well, this does. I could spend hours and hours throughout the night thinking about things, making notes of different things, because it's not. This isn't sort of just shove a video on Instagram. This is going to be something that really captures a lot of minds that I'm trying to do.
Mm,
To a really wide audience with this video, and it's just it's difficult to explain, but I feel like I can put so much more of my creative skill into this than I would have ever been able to do where I worked before, which is what they hired me to do, but they didn't give me the freedom to do that.
mm.
So to have that pretty much ultimate freedom of put my stamp on it is, yeah, it's amazing. It really is.
Awesome. That's awesome. If there's someone watching right now who's stuck in a 9 to 5 and they're thinking about taking the leap, whether joining the program or just going full time in a video, what would you like to say to them, Will?
I'd say just go for it. Life is just too short. There's a lot of awful things going on in the world at the moment, and I just think don't be unhappy. Money isn't everything.
Hmm.
It's just be happy, and I think that's what I found. Is that I found something that I've always loved doing this, but to actually just close a door where I wasn't happy and just sort of start a new life almost, has been the most incredible journey. So anyone who's sort of watching this and has a skill like that, that wants to do it, and just do it and just give it a try, because the one thing I kept telling myself was that if I don't try, I'll never know. And I've, like I said, I've always been one that would often doubt myself and shut things down too quick without really trying. And I think with this, I've given it a good go, and it's just shown that actually anything is possible. So yeah, anyone watching this who wants to try it, just do it, because
Go for it.
you're never gonna know otherwise.
You have to bet on yourself sometimes, right?
You do. You have to take gambles in life, and that's life. There's a lot of awful stuff going on, and the ultimate thing is just to be happy. So if you've
Yeah.
got something like this that will make you happy, do it.
Well, what do you think would have happened if you didn't take the leap?
Still be sitting in that office doing spreadsheets and being bored, because that's ultimately what it was. I was bored. I didn't want to be dealing with spreadsheets or sales or solicitors or any of that kind of stuff. I didn't enjoy it. So I probably would have found another marketing role somewhere, but it wouldn't have given me the same outcome as what I've got now.
And how do you feel about your future now compared to then?
Oh, this is a whole new future. This has closed one door and opened another. I know I keep saying that, but it is so true when you think of it like that. That I was on a path going one way, and that was probably only going to be stuck in a 9 to 5. The idea of always owning my own business and working for myself was there as a child. I loved it. I'd sell things around the house to my parents. I loved it. um, so to know that I was on a path going somewhere where it wasn't ideal, but it was a bill payer and it was just a salary at the end of the day, that's all it was. To now go on a totally different path where I'm going to keep building, I'm going to keep growing.
Yes.
And it's just going to spiral, it's going to scale, it's just going to go nuts. And I think with a lot of things that are coming up soon, I think it's just going to scale and it's going to get big. And I'm going to be sort of in that position where I actually have one of those moments which I think you only get once in life, where you feel like you've made the right decision and you actually truly believe in yourself.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Because I remember, I just want to say as well, Will, you've been such a joy to work with. You've been such a joy to coach. And I know, in your story and your journey in particular, you've definitely had crossroads, right? And there's been crossroads that you've had to go through in the program with, things personal to you or business related or mindset related, but you've just always pushed through. You've just always, even when you've had crazy doubts, like every other person would, you've just kind of sat there and thought, fuck it, I have to do this, because I think you just kind of thought, what else am I going to do? Am I going to go back to this? Am I going to go do that? No, I'm betting on yourself. And every time you had a wobble, which everyone does, you just came out the other side of the storm saying, fuck that, I'm doing this. And it's been really joyous to watch. It's very admirable. And it's been really fucking cool to see not only how you've grown creatively as a videographer or as a business owner, but also mindset wise as a person. The Will I'm speaking to now compared to 4 months ago just seems like a radically different person.
Yeah, and I feel it. Really do.
That's awesome. Dude, I really appreciate your time on the call. Is there anything else that you want to say for anyone or for me or anything like that?
I've got to say, Instagram is just full of, lots of people saying, I can do this, this will do this for you. But I think with you, Ben, you've not just been someone that can just show you what to do and teach you what to do and get you out of the 9 to 5. You've been a bit more of a sort of a therapist at the same time, to be honest. You've uncovered things, you've unlocked things for me in my mind, and you yourself have been incredible to work with, and it's really thanks to you that you've been able to help me, which is the main thing, and I will always be grateful. So I just think if there is anyone out there that's like me that really has something they want to do, they need to talk to you, Ben, because I think you are going to be able to help them like you helped me. So thank
That's
you.
awesome. I really appreciate you saying that, dude. Thank you so much, and thanks for doing the call.
Not at all. Thanks, Ben.